Okay, how's it going, guys? So, I have the second step for setting up server-side tagging, GTM, setting up the cloud, all that good stuff. So, the step we are at from step one, see the video in the description if you haven't already, is we've already set up the cloud hosting on GTM. So, we can see that from here. There's a couple of different sides you got to set up. You got to set up the server side and the client side. That's something that's kind of tricky. That wasn't fully expressed to me. So you're on the server side whenever you see this client thing here. But if I go and hit this back arrow, I actually have two separate ones. I have client side, which is going to be the web container, and I have server side. Obviously, I can click these buttons and I'll be able to create a container. So that's an additional container inside of it. But the original account, when I created the account BHT test, I started with the server side container just so I can get it set up. And the reason I need two different ones here is so that I can push the web over to this GTM container ID that is a server instead of just a web. Very confusing, annoying, and I'm going to recreate the process. So let's go ahead and pretend like you don't see this client side prompt, and I go back from server side. I click on the actual account, created a container, named it client side. So I can probably call this one client side 2. Click web as opposed to server when I was creating the server container, and then you click create. It's that simple. But the catchy thing, the tricky part, is then you need to go and make a tag. So what I do is I clicked on tags, new, click that, and then configure. I need to configure a tag that's going to send over to the server, and that's why you click this. You can also obviously hover here and then learn more. This document, I'll put this in the description for y'all. But essentially, now I should be able to configure based on the measurement ID. So the problem here is I have access to the demo account situation. I have, I think it's called here we go, demo.measure.school. So this is something I gained access to because I am a member of Measure School. All I had to do was scroll to the bottom. Man, this is all wonky. Hold on. Refresh it. I scroll to the bottom and put my GTM ID in here, right? So pretty straightforward, pretty simple. The problem is you then have to connect that to a GA4 property. So unless I had the GA4 property, something that I control, if I don't control the GA4 property, I can't use it. So that led me to go to Google Analytics. And let me see if I can get y'all to the main menu here. It doesn't really matter. Essentially, you got to go to admin, and then you got to go create an account. So I created an account. You can put anything in here. Test, doesn't matter on this stuff. And all this stuff. Of course, they want you to tell them what you're going to be doing this for. Whatever, create, accept. Then they're going to give me this called test. And then they're going to allow me, remember, whenever you're making a property on an account, a new account, especially if you're making a new property, it defaults to GA4. So I do web, I put the website, it's going to be not that one. I was just there. Oh, here it is. It's going to look like that. So drop that in, get rid of the HTTPS, and I can go test here. Okay, out of all that, this is the only thing I need. So the measure ID. So it's no different than the universal analytics ID from GA3, except for this is specific to GA4. So now I can actually jump over that same area and drop that here. Okay, and I want to send it to the server. Okay, another step. Almost there. The last thing I have to do is I need to go to server side. So it needs to say server side here. Okay, and I need to know this URL, default URL. So I can copy that, and now I can drop that URL here. This is the server container URL. So essentially what's happening is, normally if this was a web-based GA4 setup, I wouldn't have to add this other step. But since this is a server-based GA4 setup, I have to tick this box and drop in this container. I can't even, if I don't have a measure ID, I won't be able to do that. If I don't have a server set up prior, then I won't be able to do that. And I won't have this URL from that server setup if I don't do those steps. So there is a weird order of operations. Hopefully I've broken this down enough to where y'all can understand what's going on there. But essentially this is what you're trying to do. And then you're going to trigger on all pages. I learned about consent and initialization and what that means for GTM in the future and why those are in place. Highly encourage that y'all do the same. Some really interesting stuff coming down the pipe, potentially, where if someone goes to your page, visitors, hey, are you going to allow cookies? If you say yes, obviously we can track you with first party and third party to an extent. But then if they say no, this actually will allow you to still pull data and make decisions based on it, but you might not be able to actually, you won't be able to legally store it or pass it along via third party cookies and things of that nature. But it does open up a different door that says, hey, these people are taking certain actions, and they also, blatantly told us, hey, they don't want us to actually store that info. Just an interesting bucket of individuals and a way to segment a visitor, your unique visitors for the month or whatever. Something interesting. So there's that. In this instance, all pages is fine, and then I can go GA4 test and save it. Okay, so now I have this entire situation is set up. So anytime that I do anything or go over, it's actually going to fire. I know that didn't make a whole lot of sense, but let me just show you. If I go here, make a new tab, drop that in, it's going to say it's not working. Oh, it's because I didn't push it live yet. Hold on. A few seconds ago. So then I got to submit this test GA4 so I know what it is. Now that I'm published, let me make sure all this stuff is published. We're good there. And then this guy should be good. All right, hold on. It's pushing through, but it's not. The tag isn't firing. One second. Let me make sure all this is set up. This is the fun part of doing this live, is y'all are going to get to see me make mistakes, and I actually like that a lot. Um, okay, let's try something else. I got an idea. Okay, this is the actual cloud platform, not what I'm looking for. Um, 1 second. Okay, so I have to admit I cheated. I went and read, or not read, but listened to this how to set up GTM server-side tagging in Measure School. Once I did that, now I feel pretty confident that I can go over to this workspace and preview this guy. So these are tags. I can do either one. This one's got the tag already set up though. It's going to pop this up. This one's going to say, it's actually going to connect me, it's supposed to connect me to the Measure School demo shop. Wonder where that went. This is the one I want. Here. Okay. Trying to see if this is going to connect the way I need it to. Slightly frustrating, obviously. Ah, so then all this should be pushing different data through. Obviously, as we refine the process, you'll be able to actually pick what kind of data goes through. Make sure it's labeled. Okay, let's try this again. Okay, I don't know why it's opening in a opposite window that's not Chrome. That could be a part of it. Let me add this extension. Well, wise man once said, if it can go wrong, it will. And that's what I'm seeing here. It's very strange. Not really too much about that. Um, Make sure there's not like something weird going on there. To where it's because I chose a different analytics tag, which very well could be the case. Let's see. Hold on. So if I call it something else other than test, like it's the actual demo shop here, open up the stream, and then I get this. Go back to GTM, drop it here, open up the container, find out what container it's called. This is server side, notice that. Up here, grab this, drop this directly in. Triggers on all pages, and I save that. Yep. Okay, now it wants to work. Okay, so clearly it was on me. I did not know what was going to happen here or how it was working. Now we got this piece figured out, which is good. Let's go again. Preview debug, demo shop, connect, flips over. Should allow me to move around a little bit. Give me some page views is what I'm hoping for. Just make sure it doesn't have any arrows here or errors here. Actually, I think I can get to it from the server side. From the client side, yeah. Here we go. Tags and requests, this is how I got to it. All right. Strange. I feel like there are more layers to this. And maybe there's stuff that's being left out that I don't know about. So one of the things that I thought was interesting is I could just put the container ID of the client side. So if I just do this, shop, the first one is that, right? Maybe on server side. Let's see. Server side, click this, click that. See if this does it. Strange. All right, so this is step 2, and it is a dud. But I want you to see this. This is common, where you will make mistakes. And instead of not posting mistakes and only posting this one is correct, I want to show you guys this confusing stage that I'm in right now. So what I will do, and highly encourage you to do, while you're trying to figure this out and troubleshoot it, if you're in that position, is to actually go back and clean up your work. So I can submit here text. This is the one I just did. But then I'm going to go to this client side too. I'm going to back out so that I can delete it. I just want to get rid of this if I can. Delete, because I don't need the part 2. I just need 1, so I can try to not confuse the crap out of myself. And this is the GTM container. I added that to this server side anyways. So let's take a look at that and make sure I added the right one. This is client side. I'm sorry, I misspoke. So my client side should look like this, and that's right, because I know this MCH. And so when I come here, it's MCH, boom, 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 boom. So that's right. Interesting. Yeah, so at this point, my job is to submit these changes. And then see why they're not working if they don't work. And then once I start digging around and watching the videos again, let's all be honest, the pros show you a video. Sometimes it doesn't work exactly how you see it. And so what I want to do is just kind of show the process of troubleshooting it, because there's always a back way in. And the way that I do this is no different than how I did in school, especially with math, is backing into the answer in an unconventional way allows me to understand a lot more about um, this problem, but also other problems I'm probably going to face. I hope all that makes sense. Anyways, hit me in the comments. Let me know if this is a good idea or if it's a little too confusing. In any case, there will be solutions, and I'll obviously, create a video where I do it all really smoothly as well. So there you go.